Okay, people, so in the gala strand is The Holdovers. This is the new film from Alexander Payne. It is written by David Hemingson. Okay, the film is then produced by Bill Block, David Hemingson, and Mark Johnson. It's executive produced by Andrew Gulov, Tom Williams, and Thomas Zadra. It's line produced by Chris Stinson. Okay. The music is from Mark Orton. Egil Bride handles cinematography. Kevin Tent edits the piece. Susan Shopmaker handles the casting duties. Ryan Warren Smith is production design. Art direction is Jeremy Woolsey. Set decoration is Marcus Whitman. And Wendy Chuck is costume design. Hair and makeup, we got Megan Charles, Jennifer Douglas, Laurie Gomes, Rob Green, Scott Hirsch, Donald McGray, Zachary Rips, Sarah Rubano, and Michael White. Our cast: Paul Gambaccini is Paul Hunham. Right, we got Mary Lamb, played by Divine Joy Randolph. Miss Lydia Crane is played by Carrie Preston. Angus Tully is played by Dominic Sessa. Okay, Teddy Kuntz is played by Brady Hepner. Alex Ollerman is played by Ian Dolly. Yi Jeon Park is played by Jim Kaplan. Jason Smith is played by Michael Provost. Dr. Hardy Woodrup is played by Andrew Garman. Danny is played by Nahum Garcia. Thomas Tully is played by Stephen Fawn. Judy Cloughlin is played by Gillian Vigman. Stanley Koffler is played by Tate Donovan. Elise is played by Darby Lee Stack. Mr. Endicott, played by Bill Moots. Mr. Rosenwig, played by Dustin Tucker. Mary's sister Peggy is played by Jatinta Pearl. Office Lady is played by Liz Bishop. The hooker is played by Melissa McMeekin. The ER nurse is played by Rena Malazowski. The ER doctor played by Jonathan Van Meering. The pinball player is played by Oscar Wahlberg. His buddy, Kenneth, is played by Dan Aid. Yeah, I would say those are probably our main characters. So the gist of the story is this: nobody likes teacher Paul Hunham. Not his students, not his fellow faculty, not the headmaster, who all find his pomposity and rigidity exasperating. With no family and nowhere to go over Christmas holiday in 1917, Paul remains at school to supervise students unable to journey home. After a few days, only one student holdover remains, a troublemaking 15-year-old named Angus, a good student whose bad behavior always threatens to get him expelled. Joining Paul and Angus is head cook Mary, an African-American woman who caters to sons of privilege and whose own son was recently lost in Vietnam. These three very different shipwrecked people from an unlikely Christmas family sharing comic misadventures during 2 very snowy weeks in New England. The real journey is how they help one another understand that they are not beholden to their past, they can choose their own futures. This is a great film. It really is. Now, it starts off with well, we have choir practice. Paul's taking choir practice. You see Lydia give him some cookies. He doesn't seem to want the cookies. So you kind of see that Paul doesn't necessarily gel with others that well. Then you've got the students, and there's issues there, right? People aren't studying, messing around, right? Paul has a meeting with the headmaster because he's given one of the students a certain grade because they didn't do their work. But the headmaster's like, their parents are rich. We want the money. Can you give them a better grade? And he's like, no. So you feel that the film is going to kind of be around like the rigidity of systems, but it isn't, right? Once we get through the whole, right now everyone's gone on Christmas break, but these kids have to stay around. That's when the film takes a shift, right? And it becomes this exploration of what makes us, right? The barriers, the hurdles, the opportunities, all of those different things then get explored. Because you have all of these people, right? The students and faculty don't like Paul. Paul doesn't necessarily like them either, right? He's always quoting like Roman scholars and things such as that. That's his jam. He loves history, and that particular part he really loves, right? So he's always looking at things in a certain way, right? And if you don't, it's just like, why? Why wouldn't you? You know? So it's interesting in that point of view. But what happens is, right? Because you make assumptions about people, oh, they're just rubbish, they're just awkward. But have you had a conversation with that person? Do you actually know what is the thing that's troubling them? What's the thing that's driving them? Why are they acting in a certain way? Because there's usually a reason. So the film kind of explores that and wants you to unpack that fact, right? Before casting the first stone, have a conversation. Because we see people make assumptions throughout the film, right? Oh, well, you're from privilege, or oh, you're, all of these different things. And yeah, there's more to it. But even though Paul doesn't necessarily like people, he's got a lot of respect for hard work and character. So one of the students makes a horrible remark about Mary and the fact she's just lost her son. And Paul is just, how the fucking dare you? So I think we get a really good sense of who these people are, right? And even though there might be, the pomposity, the arrogance, the different things that kind of are part of their nature, there's more to it, right? So it's fascinating seeing all of this, right? And we get some little curveballs, like possible relationships that aren't, right? Different things like that. We find out. Because with kids, a lot of times it's the parents, right? What's the home life like? How is that affecting what they then put out in the world? So those different things get explored. It's fascinating. And sometimes we have dreams and aspirations, but even those can be hampered by our perception of the world. And there's a great line when they're talking about this, and Paul tells them, and Mary's just like, even in dreams, you can't have a full one, right? Which is great. And you will understand when you get to that point, you will understand. And it's funny as hell. Trust me. But it's just these different things, the relationships, the way people act. And it's not one of those films where at the end everyone's, done a complete 180. No, there's plenty of learning and growing still left to do, right? But we see this journey that everyone is on. It's fantastic. It was. I really did enjoy this film. It's very, very good, people. Trust me. You know, it's well, in a way, right? There's parts of it that kind of are like stuff like oh God, my mind just went blank. Like Diary of a Wallflower, I think it might be something about a wallflower. You know that film? Right? So there's elements of it that are kind of similar to that. You've got things like the Breakfast Club, little kind of elements of that in there, but then just these other introspective moments and aspects. Yeah, it's very gripping, very, very gripping. Really good characterization. It's just a top-notch job. Yes, it really is, people. Trust me. Okay. In a way, there's bits of it that are similar to the bike riders, right? Now, if you weren't able to catch it today at the Royal Festival Hall, it will be playing 11 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday the 12th, at the Royal Festival Hall. So, yeah, there you go on that front. Let's have a quick look. It will have a limited cinema release on the 27th of October and then go completely wide on the 10th of November. So if you can't get a ticket for tomorrow's screening, 27th of October and the 10th of November, a date where you can be looking for this to drop at a cinema near you. So yeah, as I said, people, this is another great film. Another great film, people. The Holdovers.